Hi, Barbara. So, a very nice looking Rocky. He is a little heavier, so be very careful with his weight because Rockies can get insulin resistance. They're pretty much bred to live on air. And so some of them, even if you're not feeding them that much, can get very fat. So he looks nice, but he looks like he's getting to the edge of heavy. So just be careful with that, or, check him for insulin resistance so you know what you're dealing with so you don't have any problems. So he has a shorter stride than your other horse. So this is his flat walk. It's not just a trail walk. It could be a tiny bit faster for his flat walk, but we'll get to that we'll go back to the gaits in a minute. So here, I'd like to see what bit you have in his mouth. He doesn't seem very happy with it. He's pulling on it and kind of jerking your arms forward. So he's starting to get in a bad habit, or maybe he did this from the get-go when you bought him. And so he's releasing pressure on himself. So it might have a little bit too much tongue pressure. And then the other thing, if he's trotty, it's better we use a bit that will help kind of elevate his head up, something more like a Wonder bit. So I'll send you a link on that because I think that would be a better option to help you. Now, here you're trying to back him up, but I think he's getting confused. So I would make sure you can back him up well on the ground first. Say back, use a halter, and I'll send you a video on backing up, how to teach them quicker how to do it. And ask him to back up and get him backing up with some energy. And do that a fair amount of time, and then you could even have someone help you while you're up there. They could wiggle the rope to help him to back up and help him to figure out your cues, or otherwise, once you've done that on the ground, you can just start up here, but it might take a little bit more time. When you go to back him up, you want to lean back. You want to give him a cue to go backwards. But a lot of the time when you're doing this with him, you're giving him confusing messages because you're leaning forward. So you want to lean back, start to pull. If he's not going at all, you can actually push his hind quarter one direction, push it the other, which will kind of unlock his feet, or you could even do a turn on the forehand and then pull backwards, because once their feet are moving, it's much easier to get them to back up. And what I would do is pull, add your leg, and once you get a step backwards, release both and do it again. So hand and then leg. So this says the direction you want to go. This says go that direction, okay? So your hand and then your leg, but keep your upper body back, look up over his head, and pull, release, pull, release. When you back him up, try to get at least 3 good steps in a row before you stop. So here he only backs up a couple of steps and not very well. He doesn't make a lot of effort for it. He's not totally understanding, but it's only a couple of steps, and then that was it. So I would work on that back up at least 6 times every time you ride him, and get that back up really good. Get it going faster, get him more responsive to it. But remember, when you go to do it, you got to lean back, because that's going to give him the idea that you want to go backwards. When you lean forward, they want to catch your weight, so they tend to stay forward. So if you go backwards, he's more likely to go back with you, okay? And then, again, pull, release with your hand, but right after you start to pull, add your leg to tell him to go. And if this horse is dull, then I would carry a stick or wear spurs, but you need something to back it up to help you to get him going. But that's pretty much right there is kind of a flat walk for him. So when you're flat walking, he's not going to trot, so you don't need to keep your hands so high. You want a straight line from that bit up to your elbow, so the hands could be a little bit lower when you're flat walking, okay? And any horse that's very trotty and you have to invert it some to do its gait, when you're walking and flat walking, you want its head down to counteract what we're doing with that inversion, because the inversion is not great for their body. They can get neck arthritis, they can get SI problems and hock problems. So we want to counteract that by working him at the flat walk and the trail walk, but with his head down. I would try to get his head down so it's either level with the top of your saddle, are a little bit lower, okay? And then to speed up that flat walk, your legs in good position and everything, and your upper body, everything looks good except for the hands were high, but alternate your legs at that walk. Press with one leg, then the other, one leg, then the other. His belly's gonna go back and forth like this, and you just let your legs go with his belly, but squeeze and push, and I'll send you some videos on this, and that'll help to lengthen his stride. And then again, if you're carrying a stick and you give a little, flap with it, you don't even have to hit him with it. That can help him to get more of that speed and more flat walk out of him. There, his head's a little bit better for his flat walk. So he has a nice flat walk, but in time you could probably get it a little bit faster. But again, for the flat walk, keep those hands lower and just keep sitting back right on your seat bones. The other thing that's happening some is as you're going, and I'll scan back so you can see, your hands are kind of going up and down. So watch as you're walking here, watch those hands. So we need to keep the hands still because everything moves in their mouth. So see your hands going up and down, up and down. So you just want to keep those hands still. Your body's going to rock back and forth with that flat walk, and that'll give him some release. So you just try to keep those hands still and not let them go up and down. Now in this one, you're trying to back him up, but watch what happens with your upper body. You start to pull, your position's not very stable right there because you're leaning forward, but you have your leg in front of you. So you want that leg way back here. You want to be sitting up taller like someone has a string pulling your head up towards the sky. So you have that shoulder over your hip. So lean back a little bit more, get the shoulder over the hip, push that leg back underneath you, and it's going to give you a lot more power and make you more stable. And then when you go to pull, if he's not backing up, lean back and it'll make your arms stronger. So you can take your body from here, and if they're not backing up, lean way back like that, okay? Really get your weight behind you and then pull and then add that leg. But here you're kind of pulling, he's not going anywhere, and then you release some and then you start again, and he's just totally unsure of what you're doing. And then that bit looks a little awkward, like it's kind of flipping around in his mouth. It might not be at all. It just doesn't look so good. So your upper body got better there, but then he pulled you forward, okay? And you're looking up a fair amount, but you don't have to look up that high. You want to just look here. So we don't want to hurt your neck or anything. So just look over his ears, but you're trying really hard to do a good job. And you're trying not to fall forward. So keep that upper body back and then use that leg. And again, if you have a stick, you could even tap him on the shoulder there. But I would make him back up a lot more steps. So at least 5 steps every time you do it, and 6 times every ride, and he'll start backing up better, especially after you practice it on the ground. So here you just want to look where you want to go because you're looking at his head a little bit, and he's getting confused as you're trying to do the side pass. So when you do the side pass, you want to look straight ahead. You want to open this rein more, your left rein. So lower your hands down here. So straight line from the bit up to your elbow. So it'll be more like this. So see how much lower your hand should be? So lower the hand, open this rein up to lead him. This leg is off. This rein should just be right against his neck, but with the hand lower, and then you're going to press with that right leg. If you had a stick and he doesn't respond to your leg, then you can tap him lightly with the stick as you're doing it. It'll make it much easier for you, clearer for the horse, and less of a struggle. So he's doing it, he's just not sure, and then he kind of went forward as you did it. So when you're doing the side pass, make it very clear what you're trying to do. So side pass him over, stop, stand there for a couple of seconds, give him a little scratch, and then walk forward. But if you side pass and immediately start walking, he thinks, I'm supposed to go sideways and forward. And that's a leg yield, not a side pass. So we want to be clear because horses make associations. And then later on, you'll be like, why does he keep walking forward when I'm trying to side pass? It's because we led him and he thinks that's the right answer. So do the side pass at a standstill and then rest after it. Now I think you're going to try for his saddle gait here. Okay. So again, this is totally different from your other horse, which makes it much harder because now you're going to have to ride this horse totally different than you rode that other horse. Okay. So this one is trotty and many Rockies are. So you have to prepare. And what I do first is just get them flat walking. Make sure you don't just walk off and try to do that saddle gait. Flat walk 5 or 10 minutes. And if you stop and take a break, then you flat walk a couple more minutes before you try to go for that saddle gait. Because it's much easier for them to go through the gaits than to just pop into it when they're not sure of you and you're not sure of them. When you go to do the saddle gait and you have a trotty horse, you have to do several things. And I'll send you a video on this. But you have to tuck your seat underneath you. You have to get your upper body weight back. So you're going to lean back more. You're going to have contact and the hand is going to be up a little bit, but not as high as you keep putting them in the video. So you want a straight line on that rein. So you're going to hold contact and then start speeding him up. But that rein has to be straight. You don't have to pull hard. You just have to have contact so he understands and to get the position. And then once you get him going, and what he might do is trot or fox trot first and then get the saddle gait. Once you get the saddle gait, you're going to hold him together. You're going to kind of hug him with your arms and your legs. And then you're going to go more. I'm sure he can get many more steps than this if you ride him right. But what happens is you kind of fall forward and then he gets confused and you guys start fighting each other. So you're too far forward there. You got to lean back like 6 more inches. So there you should be pulling more and just holding and then pushing with those legs and get him going. But you start kind of sliding the bit and doing other things, and when we rewarded him it was not very good, so we don't want to reward him for that. That wasn't a good enough try. Okay, so here you're going to try it again, but it kind of falls apart. So on those turns, just like with your other horse, you have to lean back, half halt, and bend him around the turn. And then when you get ready to gait, see what he does. He starts to go towards the trot immediately, so he kind of jumps into it. So you have to be better prepared by leaning way back, holding that rein tighter, then press with your leg, expecting that he's going to trot a step or two before he goes into this gait. But you're just going to keep leaning back to try to help stabilize him. Squeeze with your legs like you're giving him a big hug, and then hold that rein straight, and you don't have to lift it up so high because he could actually do it. But there the rein's too loose. And so he starts going into that trot, and then there your hands start coming up, but you need more support. See how that rein's a little loose on the right? You have to hold that tighter, lean back. The hands do not need to be so high, but you have to have more contact on them. So there it's better, but the hands are too high. I'd have a shorter rein, have your hand up here some, and the hand could be a little bit lower. I can see he has the talent to do it. He's just confused. So there it's just way too high and the reins are too loose. That's how he can turn his head. So you got to correct his head immediately, but the rein needs to be shorter, much shorter, at least for this horse. So there he starts to go lateral. He does start to go towards that saddle gait, and he gets it there, but you don't go very far, and you either let him come back or he kind of fell out of it. So I would have kept going and then hold him together. The hand does not need to be higher. And then as they go downhill, if that's downhill actually makes them pacey, so it helps the trotty one's gait. But what you want to do is when you're going to stop, be organized. Sit back, bring them all the way back to a walk or a stop before you start petting him, because otherwise they can get unbalanced, and when you go to pet them, they can trip and fall. So you just got to get better organized and use your body differently. So I'm going to send you videos on that, but this is kind of the opposite of your other horse, which can make it quite difficult. So now you got trotty and pacey, okay? But this can be so much better. He looks like he can gait well. We just got to help him with it. So I'll send you some links on what to do, and then if you have questions, let me know.